Welcome to the Heartwork Podcast, where we delve into stories, struggles, and triumphs of entrepreneurship, leadership, and personal growth. I'm Dr. Sarah.
And I'm Dr. Marisa. We're here to guide practitioners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and those just navigating the complexities of life on a journey of discovery that explores the dance between passion and strategy, heart and hustle.
With candid conversations, insightful interviews, and plenty of laughs, get ready to uncover how leading with heart can transform your business and life. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to another episode of the Heartwork Podcast. Today is so fun because we're going to debrief my recent trip to Europe where I got to go with my husband to Italy. It was his first time, not only in Italy, but in Europe in general. And it was probably my fifth or sixth time in Italy. I've just been blessed to be able to go because we have family there. Italy and the Italian culture is such a huge part of my upbringing. And so between my grandparents and my mom, we have really made a commitment to stay in touch with my side of the family there. So on my mom's side, they're Italian. My grandparents were born there. My mom was born in the States, but she actually lived in Italy for a couple years when she was younger. And we don't really know my grandmother's side of the family. Her father and mom's siblings, like they didn't have a ton of kids. There may be one person that had some kids, so there may be some relatives. We could probably look up on like Ancestry or something like that. But it was my grandfather's side of the family. He had a sister, two actually, one that passed away really, really young, and then one who had three children. And so we keep in touch with them. They were my mom's cousins. They're like our cousins, obviously. But really, I think we're the only family that truly, like I talk to them on WhatsApp and we keep in touch online and I keep them updated on things that are going on. And even my grandfather's sister, so my great aunt, when she was still alive, she had WhatsApp. And so she would like text me motivational like sayings in Italian every day and things. And she's no longer with us. I miss her terribly, but we've just always been very connected. And so I've had the opportunity to not only go there, but learn so much about it and also speak the language and everything. And so bringing my husband for the first time was such a special thing because it just, we talked about this a little bit while we were there. We went, well, I guess I should start with like where we actually went, Sarah. You probably like.
I mean, yeah, like I feel like we're going into like family stuff, but I'm like, we gotta even know like
some of the dates.
I was like, I want to know like, like there's this, I mean, I just watched, if anybody was watching you on social media, like I feel like I was more watching your husband than anything because your husband was posting photos and that beautiful reality of Italian culture and architecture. And like, we've done an episode on this before where it's like romanticize your life. And I feel like I watched through his lens, Marisa romanticizing her life in Italy while you were there. And so anyway, I am so excited to hear this and just to be able to hear like the capture, like you said, like from your eyes, from his eyes, and just what the whole like, trip, but also just like what that means for you guys coming home too. And what that has like really like bled into your home life in Iowa.
Oh, really? So like people think of like Europe and they think it's like this giant like country, and it is this giant continent like full of all these countries. And yet like if you actually look at Italy and compare it to where like the size wise to like the United States, like, I mean, you're talking it's probably like Pennsylvania and New Jersey and maybe a little bit of, New York and stuff. Like it's not that big. And so when you think about going to different places in Italy, it's actually quite easy to take a train from north to south in like 6-7 hours, or a quick plane ride for an hour. And so obviously with it being his first time, we had to do the classics. So we made a plan to go to Rome, to go to Florence. We were going to go to Siena, which is a old medieval town, and then also to the Amalfi Coast. Now, I've been to Rome and Florence, but I had never been to Siena. I had never been to the Amalfi Coast. And we did have plans change. We didn't get to go to Siena because they had the palio races there, which is a big, big, big thing for the locals. And so like 700 people that all live in the surrounding area and in Siena just like flock to this town square and watch these horse races. And it's like impossible for anyone other than locals to be present. And so we made a detour to a town called Arezzo, which is another very small, antique, like old medieval town, very quintessential Italy when you think about like old Renaissance Italy. So we flew into Rome, and my mom, who does tours there now, she met us there. She had gotten there like a week or so prior. And so that first day, we just got to the hotel, checked in, and went and just walked around. I love that I had been there before because I've seen a lot of the classics in the area. And my husband, when he travels, is not a huge like planner where we have to like schedule things, morning to evening. And especially it being the summertime, like
Mm,
there are so many people there now. This was
mm,
the first time I had ever been to the major cities in the summer. We had gone down south for my cousin's wedding at around like an August time, late August. So I'd been there when it was hot, but the amount of tourists, like it really is wild.
mm,
And so we didn't plan a bunch of things, which I loved because we just got to like be there and explore. Obviously, we had a couple things on the books. That following morning, we did a Vespa tour, which was amazing. My mom, again, with all her contacts, has created some incredible relationships. And that was another aspect of the trip that I loved, like just seeing her business and like what she's continued to cultivate and the relationships there. But that was a really great way if anyone is going to Rome in a busy time or even not. Like Rome is so big and there's these really beautiful areas surrounding Rome, like right outside the city center. And it's just impossible to walk between all of them in a day. Like you have to spend days and days to even just go to some of these bigger places. And so the Vespa tour really is great because it takes you to different, major spots like the Pantheon and the Colosseum and Garibaldi Gardens, which is where you can really view like the town city area and Fontana di Trevi and like all these little spots. And also there's tickets where you get to go inside some of the places and skip lines if you would. So like it helps, right? So that was actually really fun watching my husband chill in a sidecar and vice versa. We swapped halfway through the trip. But even just that first day walking around, like Rome is just a walking architectural dream.
mhm,
And you look up at these like one piece, like hundreds of feet tall marble columns that are like wider than your wingspan. And you're just like, how? How
mm,
did people do this? Like, and they were talking that it took like 100 and 200 some years for some of these buildings. And you're like, oh, people literally worked like their whole lifetime sometimes to not even see the project like completed.
completed. That's so crazy if you think about it.
It's nuts. And I mean, you're just, yeah, it's wild. And even just like the designs of things, the way that
Mm,
they built the Pantheon's dome and just the history. And so that in general, because of my husband's carpentry background and
mhm.
just construction background, like watching him just walk and be like, what? And just seeing the like wonder in his eyes and the appreciation for it because America is a very new country, truly.
Mhm.
And like,
Yeah.
I wonder in hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years, like what will log cabins look like and feel like to
Right.
people, you know, but, and
Well, log
steel
cabins probably
skyscrapers, right?
aren't
Like,
going to be like that type of element's not going to sustain the year, to a certain degree. Wood
yeah,
doesn't sustain like marble,
right, right, exactly.
So,
And so I mean, you think of we went to Pompeii for like half a day, and you think of that, right? Like Mount Vesuvius erupting and just the toxic gas and then the heat and the lava and the ash just coming and like wiping down the city. And yet still there are ruins and still
mm,
there are remains and still there are layers that they're excavating like underneath the surface.
mm,
A lot of Rome continues to be excavated because like every time a conqueror went through, they just basically like built a new city on top of the old one. Like they
right.
just kept
Crazy.
going. So there's so much history we don't even have yet to understand. But that was, I think, one of my favorite parts was just seeing his appreciation. Because honestly, I wasn't totally sure how he would receive Italy.
Yeah.
Like he's an all-American boy, born and bred and raised in Iowa, never really had desire, like not that he didn't have a desire for travel, but his parents never really had a desire for travel. His mom's Greek. Like, she's like, nah, I don't really care to go. I'm like, that
Yeah.
just blows my mind sometimes. I'm like, what do you mean? How do you
Mm.
not want to see, like, or feel or connect? But to each their own, right? At the end of the day.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um, and so I was like, is he gonna like it? Is he gonna like, oh, be like, oh, it's old and antique? Because, I'll bring home like cool antique pieces that I love because they remind me literally of our culture in our home. And just I think for him to be able to see the amount of art, the effort, the intention, the craftsmanship, the work that you don't see nowadays. I mean, even
No.
to just like buy a piece of real wood furniture is like not something common. You're
No.
buying plywood and plastic and
Right.
veneer, like so that was just really amazing watching him really enjoy it and take pictures and appreciate it was cool. And even just like we went to a couple of museums. We went to this palace where they have a hall of mirrors and art and just sconces and gold and brass and silver and just beautiful, beautiful tapestries made of silk and things. And I love that stuff. And so really getting to see him enjoy that. Because like you could say, let's go here, let's go to a place in Chicago, let's travel, let's see some things. And it just, I don't know, it doesn't have the same effect out in Europe where it's like literally the standard. It is the standard.
Mm.
Now you're talking we're in a big cities, and if you take trains, like when we took the train to Florence, there's a lot of countryside. And the
Sure.
countryside doesn't look like Rome looks. It
Right.
doesn't
Right.
have all that same because Rome is the capital and Rome was the center for thousands of years, right? Like everybody, everything, Rome and Florence, their merchant areas, so much was imported there. It's big, big stuff. And so it was just really it was just really amazing to watch him through it, and I remember us being out to dinner one night, we had a pizza late in this cute little, like, kinda hippie-ish part of town where a lot of young people would go, and it was just more fun and vibrant late at night and lots of street musicians and cute little strung the quintessential strung lights, like, in the streets walking through
Hmm.
different trattorias and stuff, and I was just saying, I love, like, being here with you and seeing you really enjoy it and be present and just like be in awe and wonder and actually fall in love with it. Not just experience it, but really fall in love with it, fall in love with the food and the experiences and just like living in that. Because I feel like he just got to understand me at a
Hmm.
deeper level because this was all I really grew up knowing.
Hmm.
Like my dad's side of the family is Lithuanian, Irish, and German. And while there were some food influences, the culture wasn't communicated, passed down, told in stories in the same way that it was literally all we did with my grandparents. All
Hmm.
they did would we would watch Italian movies and opera and like I would listen to stories about the war and we would read books and I would read Italian poetry and like just listen to the stories because they also grew grandmother grew up in Rome. So like this was just so big for us. And it just felt really, I don't know, like comforting, um, bonding, just like I just feel like our love went deeper. Like he just saw me in a new light, not in the way that I have just brought pieces of my family history and culture into our relationship in little things that I do here, but like for him to actually be in the essence, in the element. He got to see where my grandparents learned how to make pasta, where my mom lived in the apartments, like when they were younger, and just it was just really amazing. And so then we went to Florence, and Florence is beautiful. And Florence wasn't as busy. And it is a little bit more of the like old Renaissance style of Italy compared to the like Roman age marble
Hmm.
stone era of Italy. And it just has this like essence to it that's very romantic.
Hmm.
And you can walk anywhere within 15, 20 minutes and get on all different sides of the city. And there's a river that runs through it. There's a river that runs around Rome too, but there's just something about that Florentine essence and the steak there. Florence is
Hmm.
known for their steak, and it is just melt in your mouth off your tongue. Alex went on a food tour in Florence, finding porchetta sandwiches and mortadella and eating all these wonderful things. And that's where we just kind of like got to take a moment of pause and just like Rome, you're just seeing such big, grandiose things. In Florence, you're just kind of walking through these beautiful streets. And we went to two galleries and got to appreciate some art and different things. And I just really loved, like, again, not having anything super scheduled and planned out And even just if an afternoon we're like, you know what, let's go here. I just like booked tickets and we just went in and got to see Botticelli. And so like an artist. And so it was just amazing for that and to be in the flow and enjoy it. And I did. I posted a couple things, but like Alex, he would take the time on the trains and like put a little thing together and he would post in stories and it was fun. It was kind of like a switch up of like
Yeah.
him sharing a lot and me just being there and being in the moment and just being in observation and also practicing my Italian and trying to translate and understand and like find my little space and spot in the culture again and being immersed. And when we finished in Florence, then we met up with my sister and her husband on the train down to Salerno, which is right outside the Amalfi Coast. And then we got picked up. So now it's my mom, me, and Alex, and my sister and her husband, Mike. And we get driven down, so Amalfi is a town in the Amalfi Coast, but the Amalfi Coast is made up of like 11 or 14 different little towns along that area. And so Amalfi, Positano, like they're so crazy. I mean, you're talking like packed and you're also paying like €600 to just get an umbrella on the little sand beach that's at the bottom. You know, it's gorgeous, but it's insane. And so we went to a town that not a lot of people know about quite yet. And so it hasn't like picked up on the touristiness. And so most people like don't speak English there yet. You know, like it's just small, like sweet Italian town. And that was amazing for us to get down there. And then we had two friends actually from Iowa that were starting their trip, started in Amalfi in the coast as well. And so they actually came down and that was, I think, one of the best ways to see the coast. So like, obviously this is not only a processing session, but also a travel recommendation session. It's like driving between the towns would be impossible. I mean, you're talking, they're this big and you've got buses and Vespas and cars. And it's actually like kind of dangerous because you're literally on cliffs. And there are times where you just are point blank stopped because a bus needs to figure out how to get around the corner. And so you're like backing up, people are honking, like it's just life is happening. Or it's just normal. And so we chartered a boat
That's cool.
to take us. And so we got to see the entirety of the Amalfi Coast from the water. So if you're going to go in the summer, that is the best way to go. And then you've got ferries. So like we took a ferry one night into Amalfi just to be able to go to Amalfi and say, hey, we were here, we saw it, we did it. And it was cute, but you could see like there's all the tourist traps and the shops and the different things and whatnot. But that funds a lot of their like city's flourishment, like town's
economy.
Exactly. Yeah. But that was fun. So it was really great, I think, for us where we had the beginning part of the trip like in the cities and seeing some of the big things. And then we ended the trip in a very like much more like easygoing, relaxed. There's literally nothing to do other than to just enjoy the water, enjoy being at the beach, eating gelato, walking the little square, like very, very just small and quaint and sweet. And I remember it being our last day. We were going to fly out of Naples because it's the closest kind of hub to the Amalfi Coast, and that helped us maximize our time there. And so on the way to Naples, we did spend half the day in Pompeii. That was really cool to see. It was just hot as freak. And we were toast by the end of it because we had just spent the last day on the boat all day in the sun. The day before that on the beach. Like it was just, we were toasty. Toasty. But we got to do that. And then we went to Naples, and not that I want to say anything negative about Italy. All parts of Italy are amazing, but Naples, not my favorite place. Probably would never go there again. The pizza was great. Enjoyed that. Down by the water was amazing. Loved that. But it's just, it felt skeevy, kind of like dirty, like all the buildings, not the same appreciation for the old buildings. Like everything's graffitied. And I'm not just talking like a little spritz here, but like everything is covered. It just doesn't feel the same. And we were talking to some of the locals and they're like, you know, some of the Napoli people, like, you just don't know if they're helping you or if there's like another like alternative or motivation or, like they're kind of sneaky in the way, like in general. And it just feels like Naples people love Naples and everyone else doesn't really enjoy it and they kind of
Gotcha.
stay clear. But obviously getting to see every part of an area is great. I wouldn't go back to Naples. We spent an afternoon there and that was probably too much. So I would have much rather spent an extra day on the coast. And so we flew out of Naples and came home. And as soon as we got home, like the next day, Alex is like, I hate it here.
He's like, how do I move back to Italy?
He's like, I just hate it here. Take me back. And what's funny is like, I have an Italian mocha espresso machine. I got him one of my own in Chicago.
Yeah.
Years ago. And I mean, my mom always had like 2 or 3 of them. Like we have them around. And so I've had it, I've always used it, but Alex is like, I'm American, I drink drip coffee and blah, blah, blah. And it was so fun that next morning when we woke up, he was like, do, 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 like goes downstairs, gets the mocha. We have some espresso. He made us little espressos and we did actually get a little gift for ourselves. We went to the Bialetti store there in Naples while we were walking around and we grabbed some of the small little espresso cups. And so it was fun. So Alex had his espresso cup. I had my espresso cup. We were drinking espresso in bed. And then, of course, we go to eat regular food here and his gut is like turned up and he's like, I really hate it here. It's just true. Like the food there, you could eat a whole pizza, a plate of pasta, have dessert, have wine. And you're just like, I feel great. Like 20 minutes later, you're like, I could eat a whole other meal. Because also it's like everything's fresh. Nothing is like prepared and just left in the fridge for a while. The processed food thing like is really not a thing. Everyone's always walking to go like have a coffee at a cafe or just grab a little light breakfast and you walk after each meal and you're walking place to place because it's honestly easier to get around sometimes. And it's just different. The quality of the ingredients, the way they make things, the freshness and the pace. The pace is different. You're just like, there's a lot of business happening over there, obviously, but they also close. They close from like 1 to 4. They're like, bye. Gonna have lunch with our families, like gonna go spend some time at home, live our lives. And I know you and I, like and a lot of other chiros, like we'll set up our practices to have some morning hours and have some afternoon hours. And I've always loved that. It works great for me. I enjoy it. But also I notice like I'll stay at the office in the afternoon over lunch. And I'll stay late in the evening and in the mornings. And I do feel like in general over these last 8 months, I've gotten very improved in the way that I operate in my business. My team gave me really positive feedback at our last one-on-ones of even just with putting in some of the hierarchy and like role challenge changes that we've had and my leadership and my energy and like presence in the practice and presence for myself. And I have felt that. And even more so coming back from Italy, it's been like, no, like a priority is a priority when it's a priority and important is important when it's important, but also so am I. And also I think too, what has built into that is having our new home and like being creative and being expressive because we are painting, we're remodeling, we are taking out trim and doing all these new things. And I just find myself having a pull and a desire to do those things even more than trying to prepare 6 days ahead in the practice compared to just being prepared for the day or 2 ahead.
Yeah.
And I really have even just stepped back from like social media. I really haven't been posting a ton or trying to like teach people lessons on social media, get out there. I feel like I've just been present for myself, my family, our home, what we're trying to do. And even just the things and the appreciation and on the decor side, I think has been really cool because now Alex having some context of some of the decor, for lack of a better word, I guess you would say, and architecture of Italy, like I feel like he appreciates some of the things that I have now more and like some of the design desires that I have more and understands like the contrast and the richness and the lack of monotone and like some of just the bringing together of collected items, not a whole bunch of like old antique knickknacks, right?
Sure.
Like just being intentional with what you do put in the house and also having things tell a story. and not it just being like a box,
Yeah.
you know? And so that's been fun. It's just been fun to hear the ways he wants to bring things in. I remember he went to the store literally that next day. So we were talking about how he was like, I hate it here. He got prosciutto, he got mortadella, he got mozzarella, he got Italian sourdough bread. He was making himself panino sandwiches to try and recreate the, meal times that he loved while he was back out there in Italy. And we had pasta and things. It's just been really fun to watch him like almost own some of that with me. And that feels so good to me because it is so important for me to pass some of our traditions and that culture down to my kids one day, because if we don't, who will? And
Mhm.
I don't know how much my cousins on my mom's side, if you've listened to family stories, you know that we don't really stay in touch too much with that side of the family anymore. And I don't know how much they really like truly know about the Italian culture other than just the pasta shop history and stuff that's present in our family. I know that they don't speak the language. And so, like, if I don't do those things or if I don't maintain the contact with our cousins, like, who will? And I don't say that in a sense that I feel like this obligation and that I'm forced to have to do this. Like, it truly is something that makes me feel good and like feels important, like in my blood, and a true, genuine desire to want to continue to like share that and be able to take our kids there. And the fact that Alex loved it, the fact that
Mhm.
he really enjoys it, the fact that he's also trying to figure out ways to like bring Italy into our day to day again is like just such a huge affirmation to me. And such a beautiful gift because I feel like I have a partner in that. Right.
Mhm.
And like, I'm not doing it alone, or I don't feel like I'm just this one person trying to pass down this cultural experience, that we can actually be a family unit and appreciate it all together. And his desire to like learn and even try and speak some of the language I was teaching him while we were over there and working on our phonetics, and like his relationship with my cousins and having met them now for the first time, like he just has more context, more understanding, and more of a connection. And
Sure.
so it was just really amazing, really beautiful. We were away for a total of 10 days. So when you take out 2 days of travel, we had 8 days there, and
Probably
just
not enough time.
never enough time.
Never
Never enough
enough time.
time. But it was such a gift. It was such a gift to be there with my sister, and her husband and my mom. And we missed our youngest sister. She was finishing her capstone project for her master's, and getting that submitted. And so she couldn't join us this year. But I know it won't be the last time we all go to Italy together.
Mhm.
Um, and honestly, if you plan it ahead of time enough, like you can find a really affordable flight. And once you get there, it's not that expensive. It
Mm.
really isn't. Um,
I'm gonna come next time.
you are totally going to come next time.
I love, hearing you, I mean, I think a lot of us, obviously, if people have kept up with our podcast, but also just I know you, like, it's really, really brilliant to hear you talk about how there wasn't a ton of plans. It wasn't
Mhm.
like, you just kind of flowed throughout the rhythm of it. Um, and I know that like you can just obviously go with the flow. Like I've traveled with you to where we just like go with the flow, right? Like we just like figure out what we want to do as we do it.
Sure.
And I've also seen you be very like very planned and like have a desire to like do all the things and be a part of planning 6 days ahead, like you just said, for your business and all that. So it's really cool to hear you talk about just getting to like enjoy and soak it up and be present with it versus trying to like get somewhere in it, like get somewhere in the culture, get somewhere in showing your husband. Like, I mean, it probably could have been that type of trip, but at the same time, you allowed and you invited yourself into it, to really just observe and be there and also to see it come back. And like, it's not the same, like, okay, I'm not going back to the same urgency of it already wasn't there. And I know it's already been like, you've been shedding a lot of that, but it's just been really cool to hear you even say just coming back now. It still feels like there's that flow.
Yeah, I would agree. I think too, I think it helped as well that like I had been there, and so like I've had opportunities to do all of the things, and
Sure.
so I've gotten to see stuff. But even like, I mean, we had never been to Arezzo before together.
Hmm.
It's not like I felt like, oh my God, I have to go into the big church, or like I have to go into the thing. Like if we felt a desire, we just wandered in. If we didn't, we just kept going. If I saw a little shop, I was like, I'm going to go walk in that. If we didn't, we just kept going. And I had never been to the Amalfi Coast. I wasn't like, oh my God, I got to go to this one restaurant at the top of Positano that I've seen and heard all these great reviews at. Like, it's just
Yeah.
like you go and you go and you do and you do. And there are some people that are really regimented and planned, and Europe kind of throws them off
Sure.
because, like, you don't really have to make a reservation for places. I mean, if you're going to go to like a tourist trap or if you're going to
Sure.
go to like an Instagram famous place, like, yeah, there may be some lines, but at least for us, like, Alex found some of the food places. He had seen it a couple months ago on Instagram and was like, when we go to Florence, I want to go there. And I got recommended a leather maker in Florence. And so I was like, oh yeah, I would love to like purchase a bag, like a leather bag from Italy and bring it back home. And so it was just like, yeah, if we're in that area, like, can we walk by? I'd love to hop in, see if it's something we want to do. And it just organically got to happen. And of course, when we went there, nobody was there. But if we had planned it like, oh my God, it opens at, 9 a.m. We got to go. Like, there was one time where we were walking back from the gardens to go on a walk in the morning. I just woke up. I was like, Mom, you want to walk to the gardens? Alex was sleeping. She's like, great. Well, by the time we were ready to go, Alex woke up. So then we all just went to the gardens, and then we're walking back. And there were like 25 people in line to go into this leather maker shop. And it's like, sometimes when you just allow yourself to like ruminate with it, like, I don't know, God in life just brings you to that place when you need to be there.
Yeah.
And if you live your life, you know, I love to observe people. And so obviously it's such a big touristy area, but I feel like sometimes too, when you're present in a new area, you want to capture on your phone. You want to like take video. You want to like memorize it and be there and get the content and do the things. And it's like sometimes you're seeing something then through the eyes of a screen compared to just seeing it with your own eyes and
Right.
just sitting with it in the fact that, like, holy cow, like,
Yeah.
what am I looking at right now? And, like, actually letting it, like, come into your fucking eyes and, like, process in your brain and process in your heart. And that, even if you don't get a picture of that beautiful moment, will last you and, like, do things to your cells so much more than trying to go back and watch where the camera was. Like, my
100%.
girlfriends came over for a late birthday, like, celebration on Wednesday night, like, a couple of my really close girlfriends, and they're like, "We wanna see pictures of Italy." And so I put it on our TV and I was scrolling through and I was like playing a video. And I was like, wow, this was really way better in person than it is on TV.
Right.
And it's like, if I really truly like only lived to try and capture all the videos, like, I would have missed all of that.
Right.
And so it's just, it was, it is beautiful when you can just go to a place and be like, yeah, I have a desire to want to see the Statue of David or the Sistine Chapel in the Vatican. All right, you schedule it, you go. And like, that's it. You don't have to like try and stress out and get like the fast pass lane and do it. Like, I don't know. There's just some people that really try and schedule it. But then you kind of miss those moments in the in between where you get to just like, we did like sit at a cafe then because we were thirsty and tired versus having to like rush to some next, museum halfway across town just to see this one thing that's supposed to, be incredible. And yeah, that can be really great. But I don't know, when you travel, it like does something to your heart. It does
Mhm.
something to your soul. And if you don't leave space to actually let that happen, material objects and sites aren't really going to do that to you
Right.
in the same way, I believe.
Well, I think too, like what you were saying throughout a lot of this message is that this episode is you and Alex had a huge connection through it, right? Like there's something I would imagine that no picture could ever inform for you besides what you and your husband experienced together. And I think so many times, like it's like we look for travel to give us either rest or adventure. It gives us something, right? And if I look back at all the travels that I've had, like it's not typically like the place that I've gone, like the places I've gone, sure, like they're really cool and they're fun to say like, oh, I went to Utah or I went to Keys or whatever. Like, but it's typically like what my heart got informed in and like potentially even like there were some lots of trips. My husband and I really got to experience some magic together in ways that like only draw you to like a oneness or to a closeness that you may not have experienced otherwise. And obviously you also got to experience it with more family, not just him, but what a beautiful gift and all of that. And I think so many times, like we tend to think that if that's all we experience, that's not enough. But goodness gracious, if that's all you got to experience, like that literally is changing the legacy of your household, like what you and your husband got to experience together. Yes, the views I'm sure were incredible, and what you got to experience was also magic. And there was so much incredible likeness there, but you're not staying in Italy. Not that you won't ever go back and you won't ever maybe find yourselves permanently there, but like you and Alex now are home and actually getting to infuse that, what you got to experience together into a continued life together, and so I think we can miss that part of it where it's like, it is so much about having to accomplish something on the trip versus what's in front of you. And maybe that's relational oneness and closeness and relaxation and just going with a vibe and a flow and coffee or pizza or whatever, like it's just like getting the chance to actually just be in it versus trying to get to the next thing.
So good, Sarah. So good.
So thank you for joining us on another episode of the Heartwork Podcast. We hope today's conversation has inspired you to lead with heart in your business and life.
If you enjoyed this, subscribe so you never miss a release, rate our show, leave us a review, get on our VIP email list, and join our exclusive Facebook group, The Heartwork Life, to plug into our community and learn from us and other heart-led entrepreneurs on a weekly basis.
We look forward to chatting with you next time.
Bye!